सारे सत श्री अकाल जी आनू वेलकम टू द शो। जिस तरह तुहानू पता है कि अज असीं इमीग्रेशन के सवाल जवाब नहीं करीदे, अज असीं कोई ना कोई कम्यूनिटी का इशू करीदा या किसी नाल इंटरव्यू करीदे या तुहानू कोई जानकारी दे दी जिहदे नाल तुहाडी नॉलेज वधे, साडी नॉलेज भी नाल दी नाल वधदी है तो यूजली साडी कम्यूनिटी नू कोई ना कोई फायदा होवे, कोई नवीं गल्लां दा पता लगे। अज भी जो हैगा प्रोग्राम इस विषय बारे आ क्योंकि देखो जो असीं जिंदगी चीज़ां करते हैं असीं हमेशा अपना फायदा पहलां सोचते हैं तो दूजिਆਂ ਦਾ ਬਾਅਦ 'ਚ देखते हैं। तकरीबन 99.9% वैसे असीं अपना देखते हैं कि साडे तो साडे पहले घर वाले का फायदा की हो तो बाकी का जे कुछ बचिया बुचिया फिर असीं देखते हैं कि जी उन्हों का फायदा हो सकता नहीं। अपने तो असीं फिरदे हुंदे आ, ज़्यादा टाइम तो यही हुंदा पर साडे जो धर्म आ, साडे जो कल्चर आ वो इस भावना नूं बहुत घट रखदा। यह भावना सानूं दसी गई, ये चीज़ सानूं दसी गई कि सेवा बहुत जरूरी है कि अपने आप का तुसीं करना पर तुसीं टाइम कढ के दूसरिਆਂ ਦਾ भला भी करो। ये सिर्फ आदेश नहीं हुंदा, ये तो सिर्फ चाहत भी हुंदी आ, साडे गुरुआं दा हुक्म भी हुंदा है तो ये जिंदगी के असूल भी हुंदे आ कि जे तुसीं अच्छे कर तो तुहानूं दूजिਆਂ ਦਾ भला करना ही पैंदा जिंदगी ताकि तुहाडा गां कर्मां दे हिसाब किताब भी भला होवे। अजकल दे जो इत्थे यंगस्टर्स आ उन्हां दे मन में बहुत भावना आई कि असीं कोई ना कोई सेवा करिए पर कुछ कारणों करके वो गुरु घरां दे विच थोड़े प्रोग्रैस नहीं हो चुके। पर इहदा मतलब ये नहीं कि जी वो घर बैठे आ तो कुछ कर नहीं रहे, अपने वालों बहुत कुछ कर रहे। बहुत हुण तुसीं देखिया कि चैरिटीज़ आ रही जो कि हैल्प कर रही साडे पब्लिक दियां ते एक इदां दी चैरिटी नाल तुहानूं असीं मुलाकात करा रहे हैं जो कि नवीं एक शुरू हुई है संस्था इन्हां दी ते उन्हां नाल उन्हां दे नुमाइंदे आए हो and that is the Midlands Langar Seva Society and I'm very happy Amandeep and ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੋਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ, ਫਤਿਹ ਬੁਲਾ ਲਈਏ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਹੁਣ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਨਾਮ ਮਿਡਲੈਂਡ ਲੰਗਰ ਸੇਵਾ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ, ਅਸੀਂ ਥੋੜ੍ਹੇ ਬੁੱਝੇ ਹੀ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ it's got something to do with food and ਲੰਗਰ ਦਾ distribution.
Yeah, it certainly has. So first of all, Harjap, thank you to MATV and yourselves for having us on the show. And ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਧੰਨਵਾਦ। And yeah, we're from the Midlands Langar Seva Society. We're here today just to ਜਾਣਕਾਰੀ ਦੇ ਦਈਏ ਦਰਸ਼ਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, what we're doing throughout the Midlands and what we're trying to ask others to try and do and contribute to society as well.
ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਇਸ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਬਣੇ ਨੂੰ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਚਿਰ ਹੋਇਆ?
So we've been running now for about 13 weeks, so 13 ਹਫ਼ਤੇ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਆ ਤੇ we're based from Warsaw, ਸਾਡਾ ਇੱਥੋਂ Warsaw ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਤੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ 5-6 ਜਾਣੇ ਆ।
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਵਾਲਸਲ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਹੋਏ ਸੀ?
Yeah, absolutely, right, Warsaw ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ। ਜਾਣੀ ਕਿ ਕਾਲਡਮੋ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕੰਮ ਵੀ ਸਾਦਾ
ਕਾਮੇ ਵਾਲਾ
ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਹੈ ਜੀ, so it's also known as ਕਾਲਡਮੋ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ। so ਉੱਥੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ and it all started probably about 3 years ago when one of our co-founders, Rantir Singh, he worked very closely with Carl Said. And he went out to India, in Uttarakhand, udhar vi seva ਕੀਤੀ and throughout Punjab as well with Carl Said. ਤੇ ਜਦ ਉਧਰ ਬਾਹਰ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ he started to realize ਕਿ ਗਰੀਬੀ ਸਿਰਫ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਚ ਨਹੀਂ, ਗਰੀਬੀ ਸਾਰੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਆ, you know, especially in places like Uttarakhand when the Pachal happened and stuff. And I think ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇੱਕ ਕਿਸਮ ਦਾ ਨਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ ਆ ਸੇਵਾ, ਤੇ what he saw out there when he came back to the UK, he thought, you know what, I want to continue this. I want to carry on doing seva and I want to try and get other people involved. On ਫਿਰ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ 5-6 ਜਾਣੇ ਅਸੀਂ we've lived together, sort of grew up together, got us all together and thought, you know what, I want to do something. ਜੋ ਕੁਛ ਮੈਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਦੇਖਿਆ, ਜੋ ਕੁਛ ਮੈਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਕੀਤਾ, ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ you know ਇੱਥੇ ਵਾਲਸਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ why don't we do it for our own community? Why don't we try and look at, you know, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਘਰ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ ਨਾ। So he said, let's try and do something for Walsall. Let's try and put Walsall on the map. Let's do something for our own community here.
ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ, because you've only been active for about like say maybe 20 weeks, maybe something like that?
13 weeks.
Right, so 13 ਹਫ਼ਤੇ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤੇ ਨੂੰ। ਇਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ first of all, how many of you who started it up and where did you actually start from? I mean, ਕਿਹੜੀ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਤੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹੋਮਲੈਸ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਆਏ ਸੀਗੇ ਜਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖੇ ਕਿ ਜੀ ਇਸ ਸਟਰੀਟ ਤੇ ਹੋਮਲੈਸ ਬਹੁਤ ਆ, ਜਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੋਰ ਆਰਗੇਨਾਈਜੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇਖ ਕੇ ਪ੍ਰਭਾਵਿਤ ਹੋਏ ਸੀ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ we got SWAT and Carl Said like you already mentioned?
Well, yeah, Rantir Singh worked very closely with Carl Said. But when we started it, ਅਸੀਂ ਨਾ ਬਚਪਨ ਤੋਂ we all went to ਕਾਲਡਮੋ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਹਨਾ in Warsaw, ਤੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਅੱਜ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 50 ਸਾਲ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ there was a ਗਿਆਨੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਗ੍ਰੰਥੀ ਸੀ, ਬਾਬਾ ਬਲਵੰਤ ਸਿੰਘ। ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ in the 80s 90s when we were growing up we saw him take langar from the gurdwara and take it to the Walsall town centre ਤੇ ਕਦੇ ਉੱਧਰ ਲੈ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ ਗਰੀਬਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਣ feeding the homeless there, and also he took it out to jails and prisons on a weekly basis. On ਕਹਿਣਾ ਕਿ ਇੱਥੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬਚਦਾ ਹੈ ਲੰਗਰ ਸਿੱਟਣਾ ਕਾਹਤੋਂ ਹੈ ਰਾਈਟ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਕੀ ਬਿਹਤਰ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਲੈ ਜਾਈਏ ਨਾ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਗਰੀਬ ਦਾ ਮੂੰਹ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ if we can give it to somebody it's better. And at the time we were still young kids and we'd see him doing this and we'd see like our fathers or people from the local community taking the gyanni to the Walsall town centre and then holi ਜਿੱਦਾਂ you start to as and when you grow up you start thinking
it sinks in a little bit
it sinks in actually that what he was doing there's a lot more depth to it than just
it wasn't just saving food
that's it and when Ranthir Paji sort of went to India and come back we thought well why not do something similar and we started speaking to a few people who were doing seva at soup kitchens and we thought well let's get involved so there was about 5-6 of us we got together and we thought well who do we go to? Where do we go? And at the time we saw Nishkam Help, who were based in Birmingham, and they were doing a lot of the food on the street.
To the Soho Road?
Yes, that's it. Yeah. And they were doing a wonderful seva on the streets of Birmingham on a Saturday and Sunday, and then we thought, well, let's start with Walsall. That's where we're born and bred. That's where we're from. Let's see what we can do here. And then we approached the Glebe Centre in Walsall. And we said, look, there's about 5-6 of us. We would like to help and serve food there.
Glebe Centre hai ki? What is
it? It's a hostel.
Hostel.
A hostel for homeless people, and a drop-in centre. Drop-in centre. So we approached them, and they were absolutely astounded at the time. They were like, yeah, to see how. And we said, look, at the most we can do one day, and we want to try and work with you and do what we could. So. ਇਕੱਠੇ ਆਪਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗ ਪਏ we thought ਚੱਲ can ਬਣਾਉਣਾ ਆ who's going to do this what can we do and we all just jumped in put in donations food donations and we ਛੋਲਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਦਾਲ ਬਣਾ ਲਈ ਸੀ ਚੌਲ ਬਣਾ ਲਏ ਸੀ and we thought ਚੱਲ let's go there and the first time we went there we served to about 20 to 30 people and it was just an eye opener as to the different types of people that were actually there then you think our garibi and it's on our doorstep and when you're serving food, the appreciation you were seeing from the people out there on the streets was just unbelievable.
Paranveer, tell me some sort of stuff कि तुसी की देखिया बाहर जाके की हालात है लोगों दे?
The first time we went into the Glebe Centre, the Glebe Centre self like funding from the government, so it does suffer a lot with monies coming in, etc., etc. So the first time we went in, we took some jal and some dal in there. And there was 4 of us that went in there. And when we were allocated a time like 12 o'clock till 1 o'clock. So they do the lunch. When we went in there, we put the food there, and we started serving. There were about 20 to 30 people there. We started giving the food out.
Did you get a good reaction, or did you get people say, "Well, who are these guys with turbans coming to our centre?"
The first time I've done the actual serving was a person actually gave me £1, and I says, you haven't got to pay for this because they're short of funding. The centres were charging 50 pence for £1. I said no money, and he just couldn't believe it. He said, and then we served them, and there was quite a bit of stuff left over, and we said anyone for seconds, and I remember one person come up and he goes, "Is it's free?" I said yeah, and his face was like thank you, and then the people there that were helping us serve that work there full time, they were like thanking us. And then when I left there, I went home, we spoke to the other members, and you felt good. And
because you've done something positive.
And then it just became like an addiction. You want to do more, then we just grew, and the people, and then we talked to the people in the centre, what do they want, and that's how we just grew from that one. And then we started going out with like Nishkam on the weekends, etc. And that's how we just started from there.
Amandeep, ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਸੈਂਟਰ 'ਚ ਲੋਕ ਦੇਖੇ ਆ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਹਾਲਾਤਾਂ 'ਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਲੋਕ ਇਹ ਜਾਣਬੁੱਝ ਕੇ ਹੋਮਲੈਸ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਇਹ ਸੱਚੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੁਰੇ ਹਾਲਾਤ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ 'ਚੋਂ ਲੋਕ ਬਚਤ ਕਰਨ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਸੇਵਾ ਤੋਂ ਜਾਂ ਇਹ ਅਦਰ ਪੀਪਲ ਹੂ ਗॉट ਫੈਮਿਲੀਜ਼ ਜਾਂ ਬੁਰੇ ਹਾਲਾਤਾਂ 'ਚ ਰਹਿ ਰਹੇ
ਕਈ ਕਿਸਮ ਦੇ ਲੋਕ ਆ ਇਟਸ ਅਨਬਲੀਵੇਬਲ ਹੁਣ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿ ਜਿਨ if they had a way out, they'd take it.
Right.
You know what I mean? On jiddan de lok assi dekhe a na, you go to some places and you see shorty nyane about 12 years old, 14-year-old kids there who just want a meal. That's all they want. They just want a meal. Are
you seriously trying to tell me that England de vich as mulk vich bacche a who can't get a meal?
Yeah. Absolutely. Assi aap dekhe khud dekhe.
Now if I had said that to someone else, je main India ja ke some people would laugh at me.
Yeah.
They go la tu to pagalan di gallan karda. England vich koi banda bhukha mare. That's the image as Punjabis come over, right? England the paise aa ye ithe bhukhe kaun ithe to koi nahi bhukha mar. I've often had people tell me bhai England te kade koi nahi bhukha marda, but you're telling me ki uthe lok
absolutely
and kinne ke lok thode ko aunde?
I mean when we started at the Glebe Centre, there were 20 to 30 people there,
right.
Baad de vich assi sochiya, you know, we started using social media,
right.
So we thought let's try and show people what
Facebook
we're doing,
Facebook,
Twitter, and we then thought, well, you know, we started doing Warsaw. Honestly, ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਕਿਤੇ ਦੇਖੀਏ ਬਾਹਰ ਵੀ ਦੇਖੀਏ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਆ and slowly we started you know, again when we worked with Nishkan, we've been on the streets of Birmingham. ਉੱਥੇ ਵੀ ਹਾਲਾਤ ਦੇਖਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਹੁਣ 8 ਵਜੇ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਨੂੰ in the freezing cold weather, when it's about 1 degree 2 degrees outside, ਹਨਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ 45 ਮਿੰਟ ਪਹੁੰਚ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਖਾਣੇ ਲਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਮਿਲੇ, you're thinking ਕਿ why is he standing there, why
ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਘੰਟਾ ਠਹਿਰੇਗਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਰਾਸ਼ਨ ਪਾਣੀ ਲਈ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਘਰ ਬਣਿਆ ਆ.
That's it, absolutely. So
you get all types of people there. I mean, you get the Eastern Europeans, you get the white people, Jamaicans, Indians there. It's not a choice of theirs to do it, it's just the lack of money, they can't get it, they got no jobs. And they just want a decent meal.
I saw some of your photos on Facebook, and at one stage it looks like there was over about 100 people there. And I was thinking, it's like it's a milla. Any saw banda aaya ho, or they just inquisitive, come to look at what it is, or is it like clubbers coming back from their clubbing, you know, and the kebabi's not open, so we thought we're going Langar Seva there. But you know, it seems now you're telling me it's like there's genuine people who need that.
Genuine concern out there, video. Absolutely, and one of the things we do encourage anyone who thinks ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਆ ਬਾਹਰ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਸੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਓ, come out with us. You know, even with the food donations we receive, we'd rather say to somebody, bring them food donations, cook it, come out with us, and ਆਪ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਖੀਂ ਦੇਖੋ. ਜਦ ਤੇ ਬੰਦਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਅੱਖੀਂ ਨੇ ਹੁਣ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ we can say to you ਅਸੀਂ ਆਹ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਉਹ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਇਦਾਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਨਾ, ਹੁਣ that's our perception. ਅਗਲਾ believe ਕਰੇ ਨਾ believe ਕਰੇ, ਪਰ ਜਦ ਬੰਦਾ ਆਪ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਖੁਦ ਦੇਖਦਾ ਨਾ ਫਿਰ ਦਿਲ 'ਚ ਸੱਟ ਵੱਜਦੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਅਸਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੰਨੀ ਗਰੀਬੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਮੁਲਕ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਕਿ it's not just the people who are homeless, but it's the people that are struggling to put food on the table. There's a difference.
So some people ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲ ਘਰ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ but ਉਹ ਘਰ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ, ਚੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਹੇ.
They're just struggling.
And like I said, how many people like turn up? So ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਹਫਤੇ ਵੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋਊਗਾ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਕੁ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੰਗਰ ਛਕਾਉਣੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ?
The most I've ever served is about 170 people.
In one hit?
That was one heat. That was on a Saturday night in the streets of Birmingham. I mean, the centres we do, sometimes we'll have 20, but they'll range from 20 to 50 to 100.
Right.
Just whatever. But we try and take more than... We roughly know how many are coming. So, with God's help, the food don't run out either, and we just keep serving.
And ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੁਣ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਬੰਦੇ ਤੇ ਚਲੋ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ?
Absolutely, ਔਰਤਾਂ, kids. I mean, one of the things we do is we don't just go to the streets. It's about going to the right opportunities in the centres. Like we started off at the Glebe Centre in Walsall. We've approached different councils. We've approached councils in Coventry, Leicester, Derby, West Brom. So it's not just about the streets, it's about the centres, the refugees that are available to them. And they're struggling. The government's not giving them funding. One of the centres that we've recently done a lot of work for is Cypher Fireside, which was in the news. We were in the news with them. They were struggling to provide, they used to serve breakfast and lunch there. And with the cuts to funding, they were unable to provide breakfast no more. So they were like, you know what, we can't do breakfast. Now, if you look at the type of people that were there, lots of people are on medication of some form of illness. Now, ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰੋਡਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ, ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਬਿਮਾਰੀ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਣੀ ਹੈ, you know, ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਅੰਦਰ ਬੈਠੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਆ। So, you know, ਹੁਣ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਸਵੇਰੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਉੱਠ ਕੇ ਨਾ ਦਵਾਈ ਖਾਣੀ ਆ, ਪਰ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਖਾ ਲਈਏ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ, but they weren't able to serve breakfast. And again, when we put the word out via social media and stuff like that, we mentioned that, you know, Cypher are struggling, and we had the Lions MMA from Warsaw.
That's right. Yeah.
Who came along and donated a car full of breakfast, cereal, dry cereals, breakfast, etc. So we took that to the centre, and we said, okay, look, you know, we know you guys are struggling. This is probably some form of a short-term relief, but and they were outstanding. They couldn't believe it. They were shocked. You know what? Ki inane sadi ardas sun li. You know, the Sikh community saw us on TV, and they've not just tried to help us serve the meals at lunch, but they've also said, you know what? We don't want you to stop serving breakfast. We want to work with you, and you know, they've donated like X amount of cereal bars and stuff like that. So.
And it's not just about food, है ना? तुसी कल्ले food नहीं दिंदे?
No.
So होर की चीज़ें तुसी distribute करते हैं?
Yeah, I mean, when we were on the streets, one of the things you first think is चल इन्हां नू खाना दाना चाहिदा है. But as Palmer will mention, you know, it's not just the food, it's the you know, the warmth on it. Sial de vich lucky.
We actually also in the centres as well as the streets will, if anyone's struggling for a sleeping bag, hats when it's weather drops, gloves, socks, even kapre. So we have a lot of people giving us kapre that they're going to give away or whatever to charity. They'll give it to us. We'll actually give it to them, sleeping bags, jaranya, anything they can do that's useful to them during the weather, while the weather drops.
You get some people who a program देखते हैं तो कहोगे भाई तुसी गोरियां दी हेल्प क्यों करदे कालियां दी हेल्प क्यों करदे तुसी अपने बंदे दी क्यों नहीं हेल्प करदी पंजाब च इन्नी भुखी जनता मरदी है इत्थे सारे इन्ने औखे होए आ इत्थे आओ इन्हां दी हेल्प करो why you not helping everyone else
everyone's a human being ain't they? Everyone, it doesn't matter if he's black, white or what religion he is, it's not about that, it's about helping someone. And that's what we're all there for.
ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਹਰਜਪ ਤੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਪਰ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਾਨਕ ਨਾਮ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਤੇਰੇ ਪਾਣੇ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਦਾ ਭਲਾ ਹਾਂ ਸਾਡੀ ਇੱਕੋ ਹੀ ਕੌਮ ਆ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਦੇ ਭਲੇ ਲਈ ਮੰਗਦੀ ਹੈ ਹਨਾ
before anything else
ਹੋਰ ਕਰਤਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਆ ਨਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਦੀ ਸੋਭਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ whatever ਨਾ ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੀ it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter you know what your background is, ਇਨਸਾਨੀਅਤ ਆ ਹਨਾ ਬੰਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਦਦ ਕਰਨੀ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੋਰ ਕਿਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ
I mean once I was actually on the in Birmingham and there was a Gora and a Gori and the male kept coming up for food and I said, you've been up 2 times now, and he says, can I show you something? When he took me around the corner, he actually had his 3 kids with him, and the shortest kid, I think he was about 1, was still in a pram. And what happened, he hadn't had his benefits, and he said, I'm bringing my family to eat. So we put them aside, and with God's help, we always keep necessary stuff in the back of the car, clothing, tins, what they can keep them going in the week. And we actually had a week's supply, and I just couldn't believe it when I saw that. I just couldn't believe it. And that's how, unless you see it for yourself, and that's why we say to people, come out and have a look, and then they can believe us. And we have a lot of families coming out, and when they actually see it for themselves, they know then.
Now, I'm going to ask you another question. ਸਾਡੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਘਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਇੰਨਾ ਲੰਗਰ ਬਣਦਾ ਰੋਜ਼ ਦਾ ਐਨ ਉਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਤਾਂ ਖਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਮੇਰਾ ਖਿਆਲ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ I don't know if it's thrown away or kept for the next day ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਬਾਰੇ but I assume there's a lot there to go around anyway so do you take that from the gurdwaras and then hand it out, or do you ask individually for families to give you fresh langar ya seva ਤੁਸੀਂ ਭਾਲਦੇ ਆ what is the scheme there?
First of all, let's just clarify something. We only take food donations. We don't ask for any form of monetary donation.
You mean you come on there and ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੈਸੇ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੰਗਣੇ?
No.
Oh my God.
No, ਸਾਨੂੰ ਕੁਛ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ the ਪੈਸਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਵੱਲੋਂ.
ਕੀ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ?
We've to date never accepted any money.
So ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਪੈਸੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਾ ਰਹੇ? ਕੋਈ ਸਾਤੋਂ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਪੈਸੇ ਦਿਓ ਜੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਬੈਂਕ ਅਕਾਊਂਟ ਆਇਆ you won't flash your bank account details, no?
Absolutely not.
God.
What we're saying
is what's happening to charities nowadays?
So that's why we've tried to distinguish ourselves a little bit.
I think that's brilliant.
Just to keep it a bit different. ਪੈਸਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਆ ਭਾਜੀ ਹਨਾ ਕਿ
ਰੌਲਾ ਪੈਣ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਕੋ ਪੈਸੇ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਗਏ
ਐਗਜ਼ੈਕਟਲੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਪੈਸੇ ਖਾ ਲਏ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਹ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਉਹ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ
ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੀ ਹਾਕਾ ਮਾਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਖਾ ਗਏ ਉਹਨੇ ਪੈਸੇ
ਲੱਤਾਂ ਖਿੱਚਣ ਲਈ ਤਾਂ ਕਈ ਤਿਆਰ ਆ
that's right
so we tried to stay away from money and we've said look if someone phones us up saying ਕਿ you know ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪੈਸੇ ਦੇਣੇ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਹ ਦੇਣੇ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਆਹ ਕਰਨਾ ਆ we'd say look ਪੈਸੇ ਰੱਖ ਲਓ buy something with it ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਆ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਛੋਲਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਟੀਨ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਆ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਚੌਲ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਮੋਰਲੇ ਹਫਤੇ ਆਹ ਵਰਤਾਉਣਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਹ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਆ in some cases we've even said, you know what, kinya nu kapde dene hai, we need sleeping bags or we need this type of stuff. And then not just leave it there karke ajkal paise de ke ta saukha kam hai you know, you're doing whatever events or you're doing to give the money, it's the easiest thing because you walk away from it. But what we'll say is that jere shole de din lende hai can you cook it for us? If you can't cook it for us, give it to us. And we've been absolutely, the support we've got from Cardamom Gurdwara has been unbelievable today.
So thodi puri Kama Gurdwara ne puri support ki
puri ditti hai. They'll help us there. We'll give them the tins. So just parivar ne sholeyan de tin ditte hai, and we'll get it cooked there, है ना? Karke when you're dealing with 100 banda, you know,
you're not going to stand and
exactly
because time's limited as well, है ना?
Absolutely. And then we won't just leave it there. We'll then say to the parivar ki tusi on ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜਾਓ, ਬਾਹਰ ਚਲੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ. And then we'll say tusi aap vartao. And the response the families are getting from actually doing this start to finish is unbelievable. You know, the rewards the families are getting from doing something like this is just unbelievable because they're not just walking away with it. They're getting an opportunity to do seva with us. So we've got the
proper sense that is meant to be.
That's it. So we've got the locations. We've got a team of people that can help you know, the people out there. And all we're asking you guys to do, or you know, the Sangat to do, is make the food or give us the food donations and then come out with us.
Come out and do the seva yourself. Right, ਗੱਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਮਿਡਲੈਂਡ ਲੰਗਰ ਸੇਵਾ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ ਨਾਲ। ਗੱਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਦੇ ਯੂਥ ਇੱਥੇ ਕੀ ਕੁਛ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕੌਮ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਤੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਜਨਤਾ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੇਘਰ ਆ ਬੇਰੋਜ਼ਗਾਰ ਆ ਉਹ ਸਟਰੀਟ ਤੇ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਰਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਪਰ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਰੀ ਰੱਖਾਂਗੇ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ। ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ, ਵੈਲਕਮ ਬੈਕ ਟੂ ਦ ਸ਼ੋ। ਗੱਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਆ ਜੀ ਮਿਡਲੈਂਡ ਲੰਗਰ ਸੇਵਾ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਜੋ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਆ ਜੋ ਯੰਗਸਟਰ ਹੀ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਹੁਣ ਤਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਬੁੜੇ ਹੋ ਗਏ, ਹਾਂ ਸਾਡੇ ਵੀ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਵਿਆਹ ਵਾਲੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਣੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਯੰਗਸਟਰ ਹੀ ਰੈਫਰ ਕਰਦੀ ਹੈ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ, ਜੋ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਲੰਗਰ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ। ਪਰ ਇੱਕ ਅਨੋਖੇ ਢੰਗ ਨਾਲ, ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਘਰ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਲੰਗਰ ਸਟਰੀਟ 'ਤੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਅਤੇ ਸੈਂਟਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਅਤੇ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟਲੀ ਉਹ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਜਿਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੋੜ ਹੈਗੀ। ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸਵੇਰੇ 4 ਵਜੇ ਖਾ ਕੇ ਆਇਆ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਲੰਗਰ ਖਾ ਲਵੇ, ਉਹ ਰੱਜਿਆ ਹੋਵੇ। ਇਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਜੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਭੁੱਖੇ ਆ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੇਘਰ ਆ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਿਮਾਰ ਆ, ਅਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਈਵਨ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਤੱਕ ਕਿ ਸਟਰੀਟਾਂ ਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ 1 ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਬੱਚੇ ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 14 ਸਾਲ ਦੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਵੀ ਸਟਰੀਟਾਂ 'ਤੇ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਰਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਇਸ ਮੁਲਕ ਵਿੱਚ, ਮੈਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ, ਮੈਂ ਇਸ ਮੁਲਕ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਇੱਥੇ ਲੋਕ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰੋਟੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲ ਰਹੀ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ, ਅਤੇ ਇਹ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਜੋ ਹੈਗਾ ਉਹ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਘਰ ਬਹਿ ਕੇ ਪ੍ਰਚਾਰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਉਹ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਅਮਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਉਹ ਮੈਸੇਜ 'ਤੇ ਪਹੁੰਚਾ ਰਿਹਾ। ਹੁਣ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਪਰਮਜੀਤ ਦੀ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਰਣਧੀਰ ਆਇਆ। ਸਰ ਰਣਧੀਰ ਸਿੰਘ, ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਸਵਾਗਤ ਸ਼ਰ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਰਣਧੀਰ ਸਿੰਘ, ਇਹ ਦੱਸੋ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤੀ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੋਲਸੋ ਤੋਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤੀ ਆ, ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਸ਼ਹਿਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਲੰਗਰ ਵਰਤਾ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ?
ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਤਾਂ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਬਾਲਸਾਲ ਤੋਂ, ਤਾਂ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ 11 ਸ਼ਹਿਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ।
ਰਾਈਟ।
Wolverhampton,
right,
Birmingham. We've got about 2-3 different locations in Wolverhampton.
Right. So sorry, 2-3 jagah hai.
Hanji. We do a shelter home, and we do a place where people just go for food.
Right.
Coventry, Birmingham. We're hoping to spread in Leicester soon as well.
Right.
Within the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
And after Leicester, we can probably go for Derby next.
Right. ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਵੋਲਸੋਲ ਗੁਰੂ ਘਰ ਤੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਮਨਦੀਪ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਬਹੁਤ ਬੈਕਿੰਗ ਮਿਲੀ ਹੈ, ਕੋਈ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਘਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੇ ਆ?
ਜੀ ਬਾਲਸਾਲ ਤਾਂ obviously Nishkam help. We do a lot of work with them.
Okay.
We do a joint langar on the weekends.
ਠੀਕ ਹੈ।
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ I think they've been doing it for about 2 years.
Right.
And obviously we got their backing all the way 100%. And obviously Warsaw, and there's a couple of other guys that are in Coventry. Coventry ਵੀ 2 ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਆ।
Wolverhampton.
ਹਾਂਜੀ, Wolverhampton, ਹਾਂਜੀ, yeah, in the pipeline.
Yeah, right. So what happened was we started off with just Warsaw.
Yeah.
And then we started serving there, and ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਸ਼ਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਆਇਆ, you think we want to carry on serving. So then we took on to social media, so ਅਸੀਂ Facebook ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਤਾ।
Right.
And holi, actually, if I take it back a bit, when we first started, ਸਾਡੇ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ 50 ਸਾਲ ਉਹ ਮਨਾਉਂਦੇ ਸੀ।
Yeah.
we thought, you know what, this is the right time for us to start in Warsaw.
Yeah.
And we did an announcement कि ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਇੱਕ box ਲਾ ਲਈਏ ਕਿਤੇ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਤੇ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਦੇਣੇ ਆ ਆਪਣੇ donations would that be okay? And you know, with the full support of the committee, they said, yeah, box ਰੱਖ ਲਓ ਨਾ, ਠੀਕ ਆ, that's not a problem. And we did one announcement. We did 50-day Simran Jap, and we did a couple of announcements. With your box, I see the box just filled up within half an hour. And then holi they said, you know, thoda ta inna ta bhar gaya hai ki you know, you're going to need some more space to keep it. So then they offered us a small storage location, है ना?
Right. Because मैं यही पूछना थी कि इन्ना राशन तुसी रखदे किथे?
Yeah, absolutely. And then holi एक छोटा जिहा कमरा सी and फिर सी
गुरु घर
दे विच.
Right, okay.
And we'd keep that separate to the main langar,
okay.
So at least we know जिन्हां ने गुरुद्वारे ਨੂੰ ਦੇਣੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੇਣੇ ਆ we had a separate room for it, so at least we knew. And then holi that started filling up, and now they've offered us an even bigger storeroom for us just to keep the stock. The reason it grew was, one, the donation just from Warsaw. It was unbelievable. We can't.
So Warsaw to response काफी मिला सानू.
Big response. But then when we took to social media such as Facebook, ਦਿੱਤੇ ਨਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੋਚਿਆ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹੁਣ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਖਾਣਾ ਦਾਣਾ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਆ ਨਾ, we need to show them ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਖਾਣਾ ਕਿੱਥੇ
ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਹੋਰ ਨਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਵੇਚੀ ਜਾਓ. ਹਾਂ, ਕਈ ਗੁਰੂ ਘਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਦੁੱਧ ਹੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਸ਼ਾਮ ਨੂੰ ਵੇਚ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਕੈਸ਼ ਐਂਡ ਕੈਰੀ ਨੂੰ ਹਾਫ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਸ ਲਈ,
ਰਾਈਟ? ਸੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਫਿਰ ਸੋਚਿਆ ਕਿ ਲੋਕ ਜਦ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਜਾਣਾ ਆ, ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਸੈਂਟਰ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਣਾ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਰੋਡਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ, ਅਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਫੋਟੋ ਖਿੱਚ ਕੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਲੰਗਰ ਆ ਇੱਥੇ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਨਾ. We got a 16-year-old kid ਹੈ ਨਾ who said ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਹੈਲਪ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ, and we were like, ਅੱਛਾ ਇਦਾਂ ਕਰ, ਤੂੰ ਸਾਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਰਾਸ਼ਨ ਪਾਣੀ ਆ ਇਹਦਾ ਸਟਾਕ ਰੱਖ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵੀ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਆ ਉਹ send you a message, ਨਾ ਟੈਕਸਟ ਮੈਸੇਜ, ਤੇ ਤੂੰ ਇਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਲਿਖੀ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਕੀ ਕੁਛ ਆਇਆ ਆ, ਕਿ ਕੋਈ ਜਣਾ ਕਵੇ ਨਾ ਕਿ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਆਇਆ ਆ, ਕਿੰਨਾ ਆਇਆ ਆ ਤੇ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਦੇਣਾ ਆ. We keep a log of everything like that.
ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ store room ਬਣ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ, warehouse ਦਾ manager.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's 16 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦਾ, but it's nice to see the kids want to get involved as well. And then after that, when we went to Facebook, then you know, we're a small team of about 6 people. But ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਦਾਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ we've got about 1,900 nearly people on Facebook, ਹੈ ਨਾ? We feel like we're a team of 2,000.
ਨਹੀਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਵੀ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਟੀਮ ਵਿੱਚ?
At the moment, ਹੈਗੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਹੀ ਆ. But we do have a lot of volunteer bibia penjia that come out on the weekends with us. Even at the Godara as well, we got bibia that cook the prashadi for us. ਉਹਦਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਮੇਨ ਟੀਮ ਦਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਹੀ ਹੈ.
Were you a bit reluctant first? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜੱਕਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਕਿ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ sometimes you get drug addicts, homeless, and you know that ਅਸੀਂ ਅੱਧੀ ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਔਰਤਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਬਾਹਰ ਜਾਓਗੇ, and maybe that was the husband's mind, or you know, if you were going to come with ਔਰਤਾਂ then ਕੁਛ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੀ ਆ, even though ਭਾਵੇਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ you see my sister, ਥੋੜੇ reluctance ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ?
Little bit, I think. I think the main thing is that we don't want to deny anyone an opportunity to do seva. So what we would say to people like that is you know, if a female does want to come out with us, we'd say, look, bring your husband, bring your brother, bring your family, bring them out with you. And don't just think that this seva is just for an individual. You know, make it into a family event and come out with you. But at the same time, we've got you know, a few other people who have phoned us up just to say we want to help or we want to do something. So we do give them other opportunities like managing Facebook site or you know, making our posters, and you know, because every person has an individual skill or something that they're good at. So it doesn't have to be just, well, we want to donate food and we want to come out with you. You know, we're a group of 6 people. We can't do everything, Anna. We have to rely on other people out there to help us as well. And you know, right now we feel like a team of 2,000.
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬੰਦੇ ਤਾਂ 6 ਆ, right? ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ 11 ਜਾਂ towns ਜਾਂ cities ਕਿੱਦਾਂ manage ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ?
ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲੋਂ we've got volunteers all over the place.
Yeah, but they must be part time or are they full time?
Part time ਵੀ
when and where? Yeah,
ਹਾਂਜੀ part time ਵੀ ਤਾਂ volunteer ਤੱਕ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ ਸਾਰੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਆ. ਹੁਣ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹਲੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਲੈਸਟਰ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਹੁਣੀ ਟੈਲੀਫੋਨ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਆ, ਰਾਈਟ? ਤਾਂ ਡਰਬੀ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਲੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ. We getting phone calls from Derby, you know, people, we've got numbers of people.
So people want to get involved?
Of course, yeah.
And ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ youngster ਆ? Or they
like, ਸਾਰੇ mixed age ਹੀ ਆ. We get all sorts. We get teenagers, from teenagers to, you know, people in their mid-40s.
Okay.
And you know,
it's amazing just how quickly word spread on social media. And why I say we're a team of 2,000 is that when we put up posts, or when we put up pictures and stuff like that of the work we're doing, it only takes one like or one share, and the next thing you know, you're dealing with a wide
network.
audience.
Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant network. Yeah. We had people that would contact us from Liverpool, from Ilford, from the likes of Wales, from High Wycombe, who have been phoning us up saying, you know, we love what you guys are doing. We want to donate some food. We want to come. And again, we'd say to them, which is, thank you. Come.
Most welcome.
Yeah, you're most welcome. But come
do it all yourself.
So I didn't allow. And again, we've had repeat people coming back from the likes of, you know, High Wycombe or Liverpool, who want to just come out with us and sort of serve. So, you know, it's spread not just from Walsall. We're now obviously across the Midlands, but also we're getting people who are supporting us from London, from Wales, from Liverpool, from across the country.
Do you think that makes a difference? I mean, क्योंकि सेवा दो तरह दी होंदी है, एक तो आपने तुसी हत्थी सब कुछ करना है, दूजी जिन्हों सी माया तौर ते सेवा कहते हैं प्यार ना, which just means like, you know, putting something in a box and saying here it is, or putting the money in a box, or writing you out a check. Do you think that ਉਹ सेवा ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਥੋੜਾ ਫਰਕ ਹੈਗਾ, ਅੰਤਰ ਹੈਗਾ?
There is, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਹੱਥੀਂ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ ਉਹਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਮੁੱਲ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਹਨਾ? That's something completely else, and that's where you get the reward. Not that I'm discouraging anyone who's given any monetary donation. I mean, you know,
not that you don't take it because you don't take the money.
We don't take it, but what we're saying is that it's different when you do it with your own hands. And ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਹੱਥੀਂ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ ਉਹਦਾ ਮੁੱਲ ਹੀ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਨਾ. And the
ਆਪਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਆਵੋ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ, ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਾਲ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਵੋ, ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗੂ ਕੀ ਹਾਲ ਹੈ ਬਾਹਰ, ਹਨਾ? ਉਹਦਾ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਘਰ ਪਲੇ ਸਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ.
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ.
So what
some houses as well. FIFA ਦੇ ਲੱਗੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ.
Show your kids what it's like out there, ਹਨਾ?
ਤੁਹਾਡਾ objective ਕੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਲੰਗਰ ਸਰਵ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ? Is it just to feed the people who don't have the money, or to buy meals, or is there an ulterior motive? ਕੋਈ ਹੋਰ motive ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ? ਕਈ ਲੋਕ ਚੈਰਿਟੀ ਖੋਲਦੇ ਆ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਆਪਣਾ ਪੋਲੀਟੀਕਲ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਅੱਗੇ ਚਾਹਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, ਜਾਂ ਕਈ ਲੋਕ ਆਪਣੇ ਨੰਬਰ ਬਣਾਉਣੇ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, ਬੱਲੇ ਬੱਲੇ ਕਰਾਉਣੇ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ, ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਲੀਡਰ ਬਣਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ. ਤੁਹਾਡਾ objective ਕੀ ਆ ਮੇਨ? What's the purpose? What's your objective of Midland Langar Seva Society?
Our main objective is, look, ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਦਸਵੰਧ ਕੱਢੋ, ਹਨਾ? And the ਦਸਵੰਧ in terms of monetary donation is the easy bit, ਹਨਾ? It's easy to do, but ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੱਥੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਆ ਉਹ ਹੋਰ ਚੀਜ਼ ਆ, ਹਨਾ? And one of the things we've had, and some of the responses we've had, has been unbelievable. We've had catering companies through Christmas who have said, you know what, we want to do one of the days. This is Sannu though. We've been like, you know, we've had 2-3 catering companies that have said, actually, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਉਣਾ ਆ, ਅਸੀਂ ਵਰਤਾਉਣਾ ਹੈ, ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ, ਸਾਡੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਟੀਮ ਦੀ ਟੀਮ ਆ. And you think, you know what, that's beautiful. Then you get the families that want to come out and say, you know what, as a family we want to do something. But one of the most inspiring stories we have is of a kid whose 16th birthday, and he got in touch with his parents and he said, you know what, I've seen these photos on Facebook, I've seen what these guys are doing, and what I want to do is I want to put, you know, that money that I've been saving up, I want to go out there, I want to go to your local supermarket, I want to buy the goods, and then mum, dad, you know what, we're going to spend a day, we're going to cook it, we're going to make the sandwiches, we're going to make the cholle, we're going to make the rice, and then in the evening we're going to go out with these boys. Now look at that from a family unit, right? You've got a kid who wants to spend his own pocket money to do that. You've got the parents who are thinking, you know what, let's give him this opportunity, why not do it? And then you end up with a beautiful scenario where you've got the whole family working together, coming together, right, bringing it all together, and then saying, then in the evening, all we've done is we've given them that opportunity, we've given them that site, we've given them that location, and we'll help them. We'll be there to help serve the food, we'll make sure everything's good for them, we'll take them to the, you know, if they want to go to a centre, we'll take them to a centre, if they want to go to the streets, we'll take them to our locations there. And all of a sudden, all we've done is just we've created a path for a family. And you know, and that family seva that they've done, it's, you know, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਫਲ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਪਣੀ ਹੱਥੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਦੇਖਿਆ right from start to finish. And I think, you know, that's one of the, you know, the most heartwarming stories. I think it just shows unity, it shows ekta. You bring a family together for a common cause and in the Guru service. ਗੱਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਮਿਡਲੈਂਡ ਲੰਗਰ ਸੇਵਾ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ ਨਾਲ, ਜੋ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਵੇਲੇ ਕਈ ਸ਼ਹਿਰਾਂ 11 ਸ਼ਹਿਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਲੰਗਰ ਵਰਤਾ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਥੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋੜਵੰਦ ਆ, ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਜਾਰੀ ਰਹੂਗੀ. ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਬ੍ਰੇਕ ਵੱਲ. ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ, ਬੈਕ ਟੂ ਦ ਸ਼ੋ. ਗੱਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਮਿਡਲੈਂਡ ਲੰਗਰ ਸੇਵਾ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ ਨਾਲ, ਜੋ ਇੱਕ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਆ, ਜੋ ਕਿ ਨਵੀਂ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਬਣੀ ਆ, ਜੋ ਕਿ
ਫੂਡ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਲੰਗਰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਆ ਹੋਮਲੈਸ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੋੜ ਆ ਲੋੜਵੰਦ ਨੂੰ ਸੈਂਟਰਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਸਟਰੀਟਾਂ 'ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਖਾਣਾ ਮਿਲ ਸਕੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਬਹਿ ਕੇ ਹੁਣ ਹੀਟ ਲਾਈ ਹੋਈ ਆ ਖਾਣਾ ਖਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਇੰਜੋਏ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਬਾਰੇ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਗੱਲ ਦੱਸਾਂ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ ਨਿਕਲਿਆ ਬਾਹਰ 1 ਡਿਗਰੀ ਸੀ ਬਾਹਰ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਸੋਚਿਆ ਰੱਬ 5 ਸੈਕਿੰਡ ਨਹੀਂ ਖੜ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਰੀ ਰਾਤ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਕੱਟ ਰਹੇ ਹੋਗੇ ਉਹ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਉਹ ਕੱਟ ਰਹੇ ਹੋਗੇ ਜਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ and I suppose yourselves you've seen that situation where people especially now ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਦੇ ਦਿਨਾਂ 'ਚ it must be freezing out there and you know there's probably people dying out there and ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਵਾਲੀ ਵਾਰਸ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਾ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਹੋਣਾ and ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਹਾਲਾਤਾਂ 'ਚ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ and obviously ਮਨ ਤੇ emotionally handle that ਤੁਸੀਂ ਘਰ ਆ ਕੇ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਮਨ ਤਾਂ ਖਰਾਬ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੋਣਾ ਕਿ ਯਾਰ ਲੋਕ ਉੱਥੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਮਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਭੁੱਖੇ ਮਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ
each of the 11 locations like when the team goes out we actually have, you get to build a friendship
right
so you hear some of their stories what they've done how they've got into this situation you try not to get emotionally involved because you're just there to do your seva and go but you do think about it when you go home and you think
it does affect you.
Of course it does. When you walk into the house, it's so easy to put a light bulb on, say to your wife, Jabra, or there ain't enough sugar in your tea. These people ain't going to have that. They're going to be looking for a car, an old warehouse to sleep in, or a hostel centre where they've got to pay the money to sleep there for the week. Unless you've been there, you don't know what they feel or what they're going through.
Emma, to ek bahut badhiya gal mention ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀ ਕਿ that we're giving people a channel to do seva, right? Now, why do youngsters feel they have to do seva like this? Do you think the seva for youngsters in gurdwaras is limited? And that's why for youngsters sort of, right, we have to go to charities, to yourselves, or people like Swat and Khalsaid and Dharam Seva Records to do this stuff. Do you think that there's ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਘਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਓਪਰਚੁਨਿਟੀਜ਼ ਆ ਲਿਮਿਟਡ ਆ ਯੰਗਸਟਰਾਂ ਲਈ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਸੇਵਾ ਤਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਘਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਯੰਗਸਟਰਸ ਰਾਈਟ
yeah absolutely ਗੁਰੂ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ we are part of the committee at Caldwell Gurdwara there are opportunities and I would encourage you know the youth out there to try and get into the committees and help and you know ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ try ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਨਾ ਫਿਰ ਬੰਦਾ ਉੱਥੇ you know you can't expand your wings but I think at the same time Harjap we're British we want to not just help apne bande but we want to help the communities that we live in as well so you know if it's a white person a black person whatever it is you want to do the help
you can take that message of Langar to the next level right instead of just serving it in the Gurdwara you can take it out onto the street
absolutely so in the Gurdwara the seva is not limited there's plenty of seva to do in the Gurdwara ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੀ ਆ you know ਅਖੰਡ ਪਾਠ ਠਾਣਾ ਸੁਖਮਨੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਪਾਠ ਨਾ ਤਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ you know ਬਹੁਤ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਵੀ opportunities ਬਹੁਤ ਆ but at the same time ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਸੋਚਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਵੀ ਲੋਕ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਹਨਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਖਾਂਦੇ ਪੀਂਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ you know they will get it but ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ British ਹੋਰ ਲੋਕ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ you know have different creeds different castes and you ain't going to get them coming into the Gurdwara now we say the Gurdwara are open to everyone to come and have langar but in reality you're not going to you know the person that's living on the streets
he's not going to walk into one
and at the same time assume that and at the same time you got to think of well if they do start to flood the Gurdwara can we cater for that no we can't so we reached out to the hostels to the refuges that we've got we do a women's refuge as well a children's refuge and we thought well let's take you know the concept of langar out to them and push it further and take it out
don't these people get benefits in ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਰੋਟੀ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੰਗਰ ਛਕਾ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬੈਨੀਫਿਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਰਹਿਣ ਲਈ ਘਰ ਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਹਾਊਸਿੰਗ ਬੈਨੀਫਿਟ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਦਾ I
think what I know of it they do get either some of them are waiting for benefits or waiting for a green card I don't know how the system works
okay
they do actually get £140 but the actual hostels where they sleep at night they have to pay them £75 per fortnight
right so they get £140 a week or 75 ਕੱਟ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਰਹਿਸ਼ ਲਈ 65 ਰਹਿ ਜਾਂਦੇ for 2 weeks
£65 now out of that they got to buy their washing stuff toilet paper etc so what
that's less than like £5 a day
I mean where can you get 3 meals for £5 these days you can't can you an average meal is £5 every man has to eat 2 to 3 hours and it's hard for them and that's why they rely on organisations like us that go out on the streets or any centres that give them food. And,
with the organisations that you go to, the centres, I mean, is there an actual demand for it, or is this just a surplus seva you're providing?
No, there's a demand. One of the centres we work for, Cypher Fireside in Birmingham, I think I mentioned earlier as well, they were cutting the breakfast there. And the actual funding that they get is very minimal as well.
So the government's cutting a lot of funding for these places?
Absolutely. Right. And then at the same time, Harjap, you know, we're talking about, you know, we talked about adults and the benefits, etc. But one of the key things we've noticed out there are the kids that just want a meal, that just want food. We went to one place where there's a 14-year-old kid and his 11-year-old sister. And they came up and they were a bit reluctant, and we provided them with some food. And the older brother, the older child, he was making sure that his younger sister ate everything that she had in that bowl, whether she liked it or didn't. He and he was thinking, no, tu kha, tenu je hor bhukh lagi hai, tu mera kha la, right? And when you're there and you watch something like this, a 14-year-old kid helping his 11-year-old sister, you sort of think, you know, why are they in this situation? And then you just think, you know what, you know, these are our kids, and you know, if we can't help them, then you know who is? And at the same time, look, Sikhi is about seva, that's one of the principles we got. Seva karni,
basis,
don't just keep seva to मैं Saturday ਜਾਂ Sunday ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਆ ਉੱਥੇ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰ ਲਈ ਬਸ ਇੰਨਾ ਹੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਹੈ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਬਹੁਤ you know ਸਾਨੂੰ
ਸੇਵਾ ਕਿਤੇ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ.
And at the same time, I know, you know, we were on a major news channel.
That's right.
And
you was on ITV, yeah?
We were on ITV. And on there as well, you know, the amount of feedback we got from the Gori out there, the amount of replies or Facebook likes that we get, not just from Apre Bande, but from the Gori out there, saying, you know what, lads, well done. This is a true essence of Sikhi.
And is that also then one of your aims, to promote Sikhs in a good light?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. As opposed to negative press, which often Sikhs get, or you know, especially people with turbans get. I suppose something like people know what Sikhs are. In America, it's really bad. I was speaking to an American on Saturday, and he was saying, "Well, hold on, you know, there's some parts of us we've never seen people with turbans before, and you know, we don't even know what Sikhs are because there's a lack of culture. We haven't travelled outside our own country. So I suppose one of your aims is then to promote Sikhism in a positive light. And as a result of this, look on a message we got down well, hold on, who are you guys? What do you lot do?
I mean, where I work, they've actually give me biscuits. White people give me biscuits, old clothing, and says, "Can we come out with yourselves? Is it just an Indian thing?" I says, "No, you can come out whenever." And we've actually took out. I've actually had a Jamaican chap give me biscuits, pot noodles. And he's actually come out and served with us, and he just couldn't believe it. That it's just not about Sikh.
It's not just about Sikhs being
It's about a human being.
Humanity across the whole board. What are you now looking for? What sort of things do you need help in?
So what we try and do is anyone who sort of says, you know what, we use Facebook as our medium to talk with the public.
So the main way to people contact you is Facebook?
Facebook, absolutely. Right. Facebook or Twitter.
Right.
We've got all of our details on there. Right. And we just ask people that we'll get, honestly, the phones just are off the hook at times. And ਸਾਨੂੰ ਘਰ ਬੈਠੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇੰਨੇ ਫੋਨ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਤਾਂ ਮਾਪੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਲੱਗਾ ਹੈ ਹਨਾ exactly. And what we try and say is that, you know, we'll work out what we're doing for the next week, and we'll say कि अगले हफ्ते ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਜਾਣਾ है, and then we'll ask the families to say if you can donate this, or if you could donate that, or if you want to cook this, if you want to come out with us, and then we'll give them that opportunity to do so. You know, during Christmas, one of the great things was we worked with West Midlands Police, and they said to us कि we love what you guys are doing, and we want to raise awareness for homeless, and we want people to know that this is an issue in our local city. Right. We said, yeah, no problem, we'll work with them. And they said to us, they go, look, what we want to try and do is give out mince pies. Right. And we said, Tika, and they go, if you could get us, you know, maybe 10-15 dabbe of mince pies, that'd be brilliant. Right. So we went on Facebook and we said, we need some mince pies. We had 3,000 mince pies turn up within the next 24 to 48 hours. Right? Right, so we took that to the police and we said, look, they came out with us, And they were like...
Police naal aisi baat?
Yeah, absolutely. They've
handed
been
it
out
out to the homeless?
Yep, they handed it out.
They must know where the homeless are as well, because they regularly deal with them.
Absolutely. And, you know, the other thing we did in the lead up to Christmas is, look, everyone's giving presents, man. Sare jane ek duje nu tohfe dinde and when we've been doing this, I think around about Christmas time, is probably about 10 weeks or so. When you've been doing it for 10 weeks, you start to appreciate stuff more. And you start to think, you know what, assi ta ghar ja ke present kholne ya ja aa karna wo karna hai na ki it's a normal day for them, which is we're just going to sleep under a bridge, or we're going to, you know, idhar bahar jana udhar jana. We thought, you know, one of the days let's try and give some gifts. Let's try and take something out for them. And again, we put out appeals, and, you know, like I said, we're probably a team of about 6 people, but we feel like there's 2,000 people behind us. And again, it's just you know, people want to help. And we got gifts, so we gave out chocolate boxes, we gave out clothing, we wrapped up, you know, sort of gloves and sleeping bags. We started giving them out just as a gesture of, you know, goodwill. Yeah. You're going to get festive your meals, season, but yeah, festive season, you know, sare jane karde assi bhi kar liye na mada mota. And again, you know, the thank you get from people, the response you see on people's faces, and Harjap, you can't put a price on it.
See, how do you know there's people not abusing your system? कि कुछ लोग थोड़ा सामान लेके वो बेची जान कहाँ ये तुसी कितना check करते हैं कि लोड़मंद नू मिलता या नहीं?
I mean, with the food, you can't do nothing. Like, it's wrapped up and you give it to them. On the gloves, sleeping bags, or the selection boxes, or anything like that, sweets, cartons, or anything like that. On the actual cartons, we'll rip it a bit, so they can't resell it. When it comes to gloves, we'll actually take the label off the sleeping bags, because what you got to watch, that you're not feeding the habit in any way.
That's right, yeah.
So we always make sure the label's off, and we try and do something that they can't resell. And you can't avoid that situation, but we do try.
Yeah. I mean, one of the other things we are doing this year, we've got good links with different organisations, Carsaid and other organisations out there. And the guys sort of thought, well, you know, 2014 started, let's try and do something a bit different this year. Not just we're taking donations, we're giving them out. That's our business as usual state, yeah? Let's try and do something else. So one of the guys thought, well, why don't we do a couple of events this year? Sponsored events. So we teamed up with Carsaid. And one of the things we're doing in March is a couple of the boys are saying, you know what, let's stay out with them for 24 hours. Let's stay with the homeless for 24 hours. So no wallet, no phone, no nothing, just yourself, your coat, whatever you've got. ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਰਹਿਣੇ ਆ ਹਨਾ ਯੂ نو ਅਸਲੀਅਤ ਫਿਰ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਕਿ ਕੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਤਕਲੀਫਾਂ ਤੇ what they're actually going through
on a daily basis.
Yeah, so it ain't going to be like ਚੱਲ ਹੁਣ ਭੁੱਖ ਲੱਗ ਗਈ ਆ let's go buy a bag of chips or something ਹਨਾ it's going to be staying out with them, with eating where they eat, sleeping where they sleep, and staying with them for a 24-hour period. And we thought, you know, nareta we'll appreciate it. And at the same time, we're not just then walking the walk. Exactly. But, you know, we're lucky enough now to have a real good, strong backing behind us. So that's one of the events that we are doing in March.
Right.
And then, you know, just to show people that we're not just walking away from the situation. We want to actually put ourselves in them shoes for 24 hours and experience it in its entirety. You know?
Have you ever seen any homeless people move on? Like, so they've been there homeless and then they've come back with a good story, like, it's okay, I've got a house now, I've got a job now. Are there any sort of stories of that, or is it basically bleak at the moment in these sort of times?
It's very bleak.
Really?
I think...
So you get a lot of regulars coming then, do you?
I'm seeing a lot of problems with soldiers and re-offenders.
Oh, really? What, ex-soldiers?
Yeah, ex-soldiers. And I don't know if they've got mental issues or...
A lot of them do have mental problems, and they don't get the counselling that they need.
We've seen more and more soldiers coming out to us, and re-offenders.
Which is a shame, because they've served their country and they've served their GOM, and you know, they've probably saved us from, you know, being invaded. But so it's a shame. I thought this country would have looked after its soldiers quite well.
I mean, I think like I've seen a re-offender come out on we do Saturday at Wolverhampton. He come out on the Wednesday, and he was homeless by the Thursday.
Wow.
And we gave him socks, sleeping bags, etc. And I said, ain't they helped you? He says, they're not bothered.
All right.
But like I said, soldiers, you'll actually see them, and I don't know what the problem is. Just don't know.
Have you had any high-profile interest like for your work? So, have any MPs and councillors come and commended you and stuff like that? Are they willing to get on board, or really is this, or do you feel like you're really helping a part of society that no one really cares about?
I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a bit of both. And it's only when you get out there you actually see how bad things are. But at the same time, we are having support from Coventry Council. We attended a meeting there. We also had links with Coventry Food Bank as well.
Right.
So it's we are networking in that way. When we set up a hub such as Coventry, the first thing we do is look for a team of people there. We then elect a lead there, and so they've got a focal point, and then again approach the councils to say, and then sort of take it from there. In terms of MPs, not really after any commendation or anything like that. We're kind of happy doing what we're doing. We don't need any halashiri or anything like that, because the rewards we get from the people that we're giving the food to, you can't put a price on that.
If you speak to any council now and you try and, like, when you go into an area and you look for a centre, they'll say they ain't got a problem with the homeless.
No one admits it.
No one admits it.
But there obviously is. You're getting 100 odd people turn up.
When we entered Leicester to find out, they said there's only 8 homeless people in the whole city. And then when you speak to the Gurdwara, they have 100 people going there just for roti. So there's got to be a problem, isn't there?
There is a problem, yeah. I think every town has a problem.
Yeah.
And, some towns more than others, but it's definitely on the rise.
Yeah.
And before, also, ਸਾਡੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ 'ਚ ਸ਼ਰਮ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਤੋਂ ਰੋਟੀ ਮੰਗਣੀ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਦਿਖਾਉਣਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਗਰੀਬ ਆ, but it's not the case anymore. ਜੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਤਕਲੀਫ ਆ, you need to come out and get this thing sorted.
ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਾ ਸਾਡੇ the type of people you deal with, right? ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਰੋਟੀ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰੇ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਹੀ ਆਉਣੀ ਹੈ. But there's a lot of janta out there who won't do that. And then, they're the people that, like I said, that's why we target the centres and the refuges, is to make sure that we try and diversify, not just the Gurdwara, but...
We have had instances, we don't say anything, confidentiality as well. We have had Sikh families who are struggling out there as well. Their husband can't get a job or anything like that. And we do help them as well, but that's just purely on a confidential matter.
Well, thank you to Siaya, and unfortunately that's all the time we've got for today. But if someone wants to contact you, how can they get in contact?
Absolutely. Get in touch with us on Facebook. Search for Midlands Langar Seva Society. Add us on there. All of our contact details are on there.
Follow you on Twitter.
Follow us on Twitter as well. I know you recently have as well.
That's right, yeah.
Midland Langar Seva Society or Midland Langar on Twitter. And again, we just like our pages, like our photos, and you know what, it may not be...
I'd like to ask you to do, just make a few videos, maybe while you're on, doing this.
They went, right from the point of cooking to delivering out at the centres. They spent a day. Have a look at that. But hopefully, one of the other things we are trying to do is get some media coverage for our March event, where we're spending with the homeless 24 hours. And I think that should be an eye-opener for how the people really do see things on the streets and what it is exactly like as well.
Once again, thank you to CI. बहुत बढ़िया काम तुसी कर रहे हैं क्योंकि गुरु नानक देव जी का मैसेज एक्चुअली पर्सनली लेके जा रहे हैं अपने हाथों नाल तो तुसी सेवा कर रहे हैं सरबत दा भला तुसी सारिਆਂ ਦਾ ਭਲਾ कर रहे हैं तुसी हुण चलो मिडलैंड ਨੂੰ मैं कल ਨੂੰ आ रहा मैं भी 2 दिन ਉੱਥੇ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਤੇ बहुत अच्छा तुसी काम कर रहे हैं मैं ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹੀ ਕਹੂੰਗਾ and please follow and support मैं ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪੈਸੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ we live in a world ਇੱਥੇ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟਾਂ ਨੇ ਫੂਡ ਬੈਂਕ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਹੋਆ and they burn that food rather than give it out to the rest of the world that needs it to starving. They'd let countries, people in Africa starve, but they'll burn that food that they've got loads of, or they'll bank it, and ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਮਾਨੇ 'ਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਰਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਗੌਰਮੈਂਟ ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਨੂੰ ਖਾਣਾ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਦੇ ਸਕਦੇ ਭੁੱਖੇ ਨੂੰ ਖਾਣਾ ਦੇ ਸਕਦੇ ਪਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ so I'm very grateful to yourselves and ਰੱਬ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਤਰੱਕੀ ਦੇਵੇ and ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ 'ਚ ਰੱਖੇ ਫਿਲਹਾਲ ਮੇਰੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਮਿਡਲੈਂਡ ਲੰਗਰ ਸੇਵਾ ਸੁਸਾਇਟੀ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ